All right, hello. We are in the last step of our practice assignments for 1 point perspective. And we've already done 4 practice assignments, and now we're at the last step, which is our rough draft. And so a rough draft is basically a practice drawing of what our final design is going to look like. So it allows us the time to really experiment and play around with it, not really worrying about how clean our lines are, maybe moving some things around. You might have some eraser marks. You might want to do it again just to see. But a lot of you guys, if you guys get to a good point, you actually might be able to use your rough draft design if you keep it clean enough for your final submission. So as you're working on it, just keep that in mind. You can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. But nonetheless, I'm assigning it today, and I'm going to go through the steps on possibly how to create it. It's not going to be due until Wednesday, and I put that right down at the bottom here, and it's also on your front page, and that's April 29th. So give you guys some time to work on it. I know it's been quite a bit of steps this week, which you guys have not been used to. But all that was just to help prepare you guys to work independently on your own. And at that point, I can give you guys the time to do so. So we'll get pretty much straight to it. Just a little, I guess, information about next week. We're just going to work on shading. We'll concentrate on pencil. I'll add a technique for color pencil if you guys choose to use color pencil. But once we finish with shading, you guys can then either redraw your rough draft really cleanly, okay, because presentation matters for this one, and then you'll shade it, and then you will be done. So going into next week, the final will probably be due a little bit after next week, just to give you guys some time. All right, so let's go back to the home page here just for a sec, just to kind of recap and review. We've had 4 practice assignments thus far. And I just want to shout out that it looks like about 50% of both of my classes have finished all the steps up until now. And I did put the due date for today, Friday, for all 4 of those. And that's just to keep you guys on pace. And if you guys have already got that down, you guys are good to go. You guys can work on the rough draft, and notice that you guys have some time to do that. So you guys are rewarded with that. People that have not started this yet, they got all 4 steps to still do for that credit. Let's move on here. So we're working on this slide here. This one... just to kind of go over some of the steps here that we want to do, I'm going to work with this practice example. And I put this handout in here. Usually this is a physical handout that I hand to everybody. Just going over some of the steps that I've been incorporating in the videos as far as how to really maximize the illusion of depth rather than just the 1-point perspective. Obviously, 1-point perspective is our main goal, which is step 1, utilizing the vanishing point. But we also want to add variety of size. Now, that's not just for design. Obviously, if everything was the same size, sometimes the design looks a little monotonous or maybe boring. So you want to change the size. But with the illusion of depth, things that are larger versus smaller appear to be closer. So it helps maximize the illusion of depth there. Also, we've been talking about overlap, which is not easy to do. So the people that have been doing that, it looks really good so far. So I'm actually pleased with that. And so there's 3 ways to do it. We got side by side, Yesterday we worked with segmented, all following the same 1-point perspective there. And then we have the scattering approach, which is a variety of forms. We got the foreground, middle ground, and background happening here. And I would like you guys to really kind of concentrate on that one. That really helps with filling up the space of your design, as you can kind of see here on the left-hand side. I got foreground, middle ground. Doesn't look like I have really anything in the background here, but maybe foreground, middle ground, background. And you can see, large to medium to small really helps. Even putting a small one out here just to fill the space is nice. The 4-step placement. So a lot of the times when people do the 1-point perspective, like kind of our practice examples here, it's just all kind of like in the same area on the outside, not really the edge of the paper, and sometimes nothing in the middle. So when we talk about placement, try to put things close to the vanishing point, things kind of in the middle, and things closer to the edge. And actually, if illusion wise, is if things are closer to the edge, they actually appear to be closer to us, even though they might be the same size and the same shape for that. And then let's see, the 5th one, length. This is mostly for design. Again, we don't want all the same shapes and forms to be the same length. It looks pretty monotonous. So do some that are long, do some that are medium, do some that are schmedium, and do some that are short. It'll just really help your design here and just add variety. So if you add a long one, maybe the next volume you do is medium. If you do a medium, maybe the next one is short, and just kind of just go through that process. And then of course hollow. Doing hollow really kind of opens the space. You might have something like this, a really chunky, large shape, but making this piece maybe hollow just kind of opens up the design. Doesn't make it so heavy. And the last one here, I just put as a bonus for some of you guys that might figure out. We got unique shapes to utilize, and a lot of people like to use letters, especially letters of their name. And then if you guys can figure out breaking apart the forms here, I'm going to add that to my demonstration today. But this is just a bonus. It is not, I'm not going to count you down if you're not using that. So if you look at today, I'm using all rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, and cylinders. Just keep it easy there. Okay, moving forward, just some examples here, and I added a link. This goes to a larger file here, and so click the link. So you just don't have these two, and it should take you to my Google Drive folder of some past examples here. You can click on one. Open there, and you get some past examples. So just looking at some of these, these are all great examples. Now, some of them might not be too perfect. I think the one aspect here that needs work is placement. You can see that they're all kind of placed around a circle. There's nothing really in the middle or close to the edges. Really good aspect of depth here. You can see that they got a really good understanding of the hollow. All the lines look really straight, and the shadings really well, which we'll talk about next week. Looks good. All right, nice design here, utilizing less forms. Okay, so the minimum number of this is going to be 15. I think they got 15 here. You saw the previous examples used a lot. So you can fill up the space with 15 forms. I think that's a good number. Maybe a little empty space here. Maybe just adding a little nugget over here. Maybe goes underneath or just by itself or right in front of this guy will help kind of fill up the space a little bit more. So really pay attention to your design, but really cool hollow pieces here. Pretty straightforward. This fills up the space pretty well. Nice depth, cool colors. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think this one would just need, looks like the kind of medium to small forms. I think just having a really large volume in the back here, down here, just kind of fill up the space would have helped kind of balance and add some variety there. Okay. Saw that example. And yeah, it looks pretty good. We see the unique shapes here. And yeah, it looks pretty good. I think this one could use a big form here. So let's look at that. A lot of people tend to not really put a large form in here. I think this one's a great example of how to do that. Really big blocks. You can see how the space is really balanced on here. So cool. Let's do it. Let's get to it. All right, so I'm actually gonna trace over my example here, and I'm gonna go orange first. I'm gonna match everything to the vanishing point, and then I'm gonna go over it in red. So keep in mind that this orange that I'm gonna be using, this is kind of like your way of using light lines, okay? And let's see how this works here. So to start off, I would probably just add like a scattering of shapes that you want to use. You know, just kind of fill up the space. If you got one medium, do another one slightly larger. Here we kind of work with towards the edges here and then work towards the middle as you go through. Okay. Add a rectangle there. Again, working towards the edge. I really like these flat, elongated shapes. Aren't so chunky, and they really help to fill up your design space. Another one here. I used a lot of triangles in this design. Okay, and you can see that I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, just kind of around the space. So then what I would do is take the ruler, line it up to the vanishing point. Okay, and again, line it up to the vanishing point. Now, if you know you're going to make it short, if you already know it, remember that you can line it up to the vanishing point, but you don't have to draw the lines all the way to it. You know, if you know it's going to be medium, just stop like halfway. You can see. So my edges are a little different. And oops. All right, so we can see to start off that all of these are not overlapped. They're separate of each other. Okay. But they help to fill up the space. And we'll even add this little guy up here because this space, you know, if we're not looking at this, that space is kind of empty. So maybe we just add like a little small one here. Good variety of size, kind of large to medium, and our little nugget over here, pretty small. Good way to start. Okay. Next thing I would do is start cutting these off and think about which ones you want long, medium, or short to help add some variety that way. So let's see how we did that. I would say this one is short. This one is medium. This one medium. Remember those back edges parallel to the front edges, no matter how far back they go. This one's medium. And I think I made this one super long. I made this one medium here, already cutting it off there. Okay. Next, what I would do is erase, and that will help open up the space for you to figure out where you're going to put your other designs here. So, a little lag time there, sorry. So since it's a rough draft, you don't have to worry about erasing your lines completely and cleanly. But for your final, or if you plan to use this for your final, make sure those lines are erased, and we don't see, try not to show any evidence that they were there. So really important that you guys draw really lightly, especially if you plan to use this for your final. Okay. All right. Now, kind of our next step here is trying to figure out, where to place your other ones here and where you want to start adding your overlap to increase the size, idea of depth here. So side by side, maybe kind of right in the middle of that rectangle there. Another oval right there. And let's add this other triangle here. So just overlapping just a little bit. You see how that little corner right there goes right behind that one already, and we're already going behind that rectangle in front. And I like how some forms kind of interact with two different ones. So this triangle here is interacting with this rectangle, and also this triangle here, both overlapped. And if you wanted to, you can like overlap here and maybe go in front here if you wanted to, which I'll do it. I'll kind of change up the design just so you guys can see that. And so it adds some variety behind and in front. Okay. And so that's good. Let's line those up to the vanishing point. Again, really use your rulers or something that has a straight edge on this. Okay. And if you know you're gonna do it short, still line up your ruler to the edge here and to the vanishing point, but maybe you stop short here, like on the cylinder. Let's just say, oh, we already know we're already gonna do it short, so that's something that we can already complete. Remember, keep that back edge curved, following the front curve. And let's see, I got another one here. Let's do one like right on top. Let's kind of add that and line up the edge. You can see that this edge of the front lines up exactly with the side edge, and so you're not going to see the other side of that. And let's already cut this off. I kind of want to do it right in the middle there. All right, and let's see. Did I do that right? No, I already cut that off. I was supposed to cut this off here previously to open up that space, so sorry for that. Because we really had that space opened up for that rectangle in the background, as you see. But you can see your designs might evolve and change as you go through. You might erase entire shapes that you've already added just to make things fit. All right, and let's cut off. Let's say I like to make things a little bit longer. Okay, and so notice that this space is a little weird. A lot of people just kind of tend to do that. Remember, keep it parallel to the front edge. Connecting point here should be parallel. So this back edge almost flows straight into the side edge here, and sometimes that happens. There's just a very wide angle here, really obtuse angle for those of you who are familiar with geometry angles. A little lag time, okay. And let's go right in front here, so I'm going to erase where that guy overlaps. And I think that looks nice. And sorry, go back to eraser here. Let's erase. Whoops. All right. And then let's erase the rectangle, so the cylinder's in front. Okay, that looks good. And let's add our last little pieces here. Let's say, I'm just going to do this. Let's say we want a rectangle right about here. Sorry, somebody's calling me and my iPad went blank. There we go. Sorry about that. Luckily it didn't show on my computer screen. Let's go all the way back here. Let's add a triangle here. We can see now we're putting stuff in the background. Let's add a square here. And if you already know it's going to go behind, you could just kind of draw the lines and stop right there. If you can't figure it out, you can just draw the lines through and then erase later, but I think most of you guys will be able to get it. And same thing here, like if you're connecting the corner here to the vanishing point, if you know it's going to go behind this triangle, just line up your ruler, draw, but stop right there and continue in the back. And let's see. Okay. All right. So we're already quickly filling up the space. Again, 15 minimum forms. And it might sound like a lot, but really it's not. Keep in mind that some of these forms can be like itty bitty small ones there. And let's just connect that. Okay. All right. And so let's start cutting off. So maybe I want this one to be right about there. And this one's pretty long. Add there. Where else? I think that's it. Do some erasing. Oh, I missed this one here. Triangle. Open that space up so that cylinder is kind of by itself. Now, so some of these you can connect all the way to the vanishing point if you want, not cut off. And then let's see. So for this rectangle down at the bottom left-hand corner in between the triangles, I think I want it to go right in front of this guy. This guy right here. But maybe I want it to go behind the other guy, so I'm going to erase that one. Really create the illusion of depth there. I think that's different from my design, but we'll just keep it as is. All right, and a good gathering of forms here. Oops, let's erase this. Nice overlap, nice variety of using different shapes like cylinders and triangles and rectangles. Good variety of forms and sizes, large, mediums, and smalls, and placement. Next thing I would do is figure out which ones you want to make hollow. Just kind of open up the space. So I'm going to use the larger ones here. I would recommend that you guys not do hollow ones for the small ones. Some people tend to do that. It gets really confusing sometimes when they're really small. So we're going to do an inside parallel line. Okay. And you can go ahead and line up the edges unless you're going to put something inside of it. In that case, like this one here, we're adding a cylinder. I'd wait to add the edge maybe. And then still, even though it's inside, remember everything is 1 point perspective. Everything goes back to the vanishing point here. And so we stop right at the edge there. And just for fun, let's add something here. I'll do like a skinny, really skinny rectangle. And we'll have it go through there. Do we see the side edge? Just barely, maybe. Okay. And let's see. And so now we will erase these lines here. Maybe a little off there. Really need a ruler for this one. Sometimes it's so skinny that you probably don't even see it, and I think that's what's going on there. Can't figure that out. Okay. All right, and I think we got a pretty good design. You know, I think what I'll do, since this video is a little long, on Monday, I'll update this one and I'll show you guys how to break these apart for the bonus features there, and I'll actually add to this design, and I'll just like really add a bunch of stuff to it just to show you guys how to do it. And again, those bonus ones are not necessary, so it's just a video that some of you guys might want to see, others can do without. But this is what we want, 15, minimum 15 forms, okay? We can see we got a nice variety of size and shapes and placement, and some in front here, some in the middle, some in the background, some kind of right on the side there. We got the hollow, a couple hollow ones, and pretty straightforward, and I think we're good to go here. So I'm going to end the video now. You guys so far who have been working on the drawings are doing an awesome job. So hopefully these videos are doing pretty well for you guys to pause and redo things and go backwards if needed. And if you guys have any individual questions, please let me know, and I'll make sure to reach back out to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, hope you guys have a great weekend. Good first week here. It'll get a little bit easier for our final draft here, I promise you. And just take care. Miss you guys.